Look at JD coming in hot already. Let's go. Hot off the press. Man. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right, let's go, guys. Hit that like button. I appreciate you.
You are watching Blunt Politics with Boston Brian.
All right, let's go. I appreciate you guys very much. Welcome back. Today is Wednesday, August 6, 2025, and you have just joined Blunt Politics. I'm Boston Brian. This is the political podcast that breaks down the lies, the propaganda, the bullshit of Donald Trump, the Republican Party, the mainstream media, and breaks it down for the normal, everyday, working-class individuals such as yourself and myself, because that's who's actually affected by these policies. We have a shitload to get to today, so thank you to the chat for being here. I appreciate you guys. Thank you to the mods for keeping the chat safe. You guys rock and kick ass more than you even know. But chat, you guys keep doing your thing as far as gifting. I have to do the shameless plug section of the show, which is, Venmo up in the corner. You can become a channel member just underneath me for $2.99. You can gift memberships. You can send a super sticker, super chat, anything like that. But again, bust a buck, try your luck, support some independent media because it really goes a long way. And I think that's exactly what we need more of in this space is independent voices, giving their opinions and telling these politicians exactly what the people of this country actually want and need and what the popular policies actually are. And, instead of taking money from AIPAC, but, that's a whole different thing. Lots to get into today. So Slava Ukraini, Heroyam Slava. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you again, mods. As I was saying, you guys are the best as always. Midas Cam, how are you? Julie, how are you? What's up, Jen up the base? How are you? What's up, Nicholas? Tom, how are you? No, I've stopped that. If you've noticed, I've changed my rhetoric as far as where the memberships are. What's going on? Twitch, Instagram, Facebook, of course, YouTube. Make sure you guys are hitting the like button, share the stream. We're trying to get to 15K. We're looking at 13,000 first. And a big shout out to the Angry Ginger for all of his kind words. I don't know if anybody was tuning into his show, but make sure you subscribe to his channel. Check his show out. Again, thank you for all the kind words. I hope they're warranted. I hope I actually deserve the kind words, the praises he was throwing upon me. But it would be pretty cool to link up with him, either have him on the show or join him for a show and any one of the guests that he wants to have on. Alyosha, how are you? What's going on, guys? What up, big dog? All right, what do you say we get into? What up, Don? How are you? Appreciate you guys. All right, what do you say we get into just a little bit of what we're going to be talking about tonight? So, obviously, we'll be taking a look at this just insane story. I don't know. It's just, to me, it's insane that anybody could walk into a house, immediately see what we're looking at here on the screen and be like, yeah, I'd like to fucking party here. Like how this is a New York Times article here looking at on the inside of Jeffrey Epstein's Manhattan 7-story townhouse or whatever the fuck you want to call it there. The sex offender hosted the elite, displayed photos with presidents, and showcased the first edition of Lolita. According to previously unreported photos and letters, it goes on to show, the security cameras in the corner of the rooms. It goes on to show the multitude of photographs that Jeffrey Epstein has with any number of high-profile individuals, whether it be heads of state, whether it be just high-profile politicians or leaders of big companies. So we'll absolutely be taking a look at this. But does it get more crazy than this? Honestly. We'll talk about it when we dive into it, but a bride, like what does a rope? Like people think about a rope and instantly my mind goes to escape. Like there's a problem, like get me the fuck out of here, not the normal way that I would get here. Something's happening with the normal route that I got in here. So I need a different way of escape, right? So we got a bride, what can only be depicted as a bride. Oh, thank you. What up, dude? What up, JJ? Did you hear sections 9 and 10 of Article 1 disappeared from Federal Constitution website? I did see that in passing. Didn't get too deep into it, but I'll be taking a look at that for sure. I appreciate you, my man. Thank you so much for your contributions. Thank you for being here night after night. It really is nice to see the loyalty and support that you guys show. But yeah, a bride on a rope. It just seems like a bride trying to escape. I don't know. It's gross in so many different ways. We'll be taking a look at that. MSNBC also has what they're calling some more receipts here as Simone on new Trump-Epstein relationship details. So we'll be getting into that clip. We'll also be taking a look at the GOP town halls or the Republican town halls that have been blowing up in their faces here. At least this one for Representative Mike Flood. Some great clips coming out of here to show just how angry the people are. This coming out of Lincoln, Nebraska, too, folks. So this isn't one, this wasn't fucking in Massachusetts or California or, pick your blue area or even a purple area. That's not what we're talking about. We got some live updates on, of course, the Army sergeant that shot 5 soldiers at Fort Stewart. That brings up some security questions there. So we'll be diving into that. Rachel Maddow has a great piece, a great warning for everybody here. On the profound change by authoritarian leaders. We're beyond waiting and seeing now, she says. Oh, thank you, Nordez. Let's fucking go, guys. Let's fucking go. Your continued contributions are literally the only thing keeping this channel going. We're hanging on by the skin of our teeth, and it's only because you guys continue to show up and support this channel that we're even able to make it this far. So thank you so much, Nordez. Thank you so much, JJ. I appreciate you guys. I really do. Big dog, everybody that's here and everybody that's watching, like, share, subscribes, the free stuff, patreon.com/Boston Brian, whatever it may be. You guys are fucking rock stars. You really are. So we'll be taking a look at Rachel's warning that she gives us. We'll be talking about Trump's new tariffs, up to 50% on India and, the imports over Russian oil ties to pressure Moscow into a peace deal. Again, something that we can say is objectively a good thing. As it pertains to the fine people in the great military of Ukraine. What's this one? Oh, yeah, we'll be taking a look at Donald Trump made an appearance on CNBC and absolutely got bodied as it pertains to, facts and what actually happened in the past. That's just a quick clip. We'll be taking a look at that. This is a clip of, again, posted by Chris Webb, talking about how ICE this morning rolled into a Home Depot parking lot using moving trucks loaded with agents like a Trojan horse to snatch up Latino workers, whoever they could find. No idea if they're undocumented or not. That's not enforcement. That's racial profiling and violates a standing court order. There's a short clip that he posted that we'll be taking a look to show us exactly what was going on. What else do we got? I wanted to kind of troll Rumble and see if they were talking about anything. We got Hunter Biden on giving us a little Epstein news. There's a video coming out of Ukraine on Ukraine's front line. Twisted Record shows sanctions have yet to stop Russia from the BBC News. All of that and more that we'll be trying to get to. I know we typically don't have time to get to it all. There's so much that I look at and consume and try to want to bring to light and spotlight and highlight and talk about with you guys that inevitably, I was just thinking in my mind as we were coming on that, one thing that really stood out to me as I started doing more, political content and making it, more than was just how much stuff actually comes out, like whether it be inside of Congress, whether your, avenue is looking at policies and legislation and laws that are written in that side of things, or if you're, just like I was kind of more focused on, Donald Trump as an entity and, just the fascist authoritarian nature that he was bringing bringing into view and molding the Republican Party into. But that, obviously branched out into everything now that is consumed by, anything that has the label politics or political on it. You know what I mean? But it's crazy how much comes out. It really is. The fact that you can do, say like Hal, two shows a day every day or whatever, you know what I'm saying? He's got a ton of time that he's on air, as do a lot of people. And there's a ton of stuff to cover. You still don't have enough time to kind of bring everything to light. So with that being said, let's not waste any more time. Thank you so much, guys. I do appreciate it. Again, hit the like button, share the stream, and let's get into this wacky and wild article from the New York Times here. What do you say? And, I'm not going to read it out and go through the whole thing, but we'll just kind of glance over it and reference just a little bit of the things that they talk about in here. So again, this is a New York Times article titled "A Look Inside Jeffrey Epstein's Manhattan Lair." Okay. Subtitle says, in his 7-story townhouse, the sex offender hosted the elite, displayed photos with presidents, and showcased a first edition of quote Lolita, which I believe is a book, if I'm not mistaken, according to previously unreported photos and letters. And of course, the first thing that we were just talking about here was this sculpture of a bride clinging to a rope dangled in a central atrium of Jeffrey Epstein's mansion. Now, if that doesn't immediately give you, like, get me the fuck out of here vibes, like what goes on in this place vibes, like some fucking serious P. Diddy vibes, which, those vibes actually continue. There's a little, there's a through a through story in this article as it pertains to that as well. But just fucking, I would look up and be like, okay, honey, let's get the fuck out of here. How did we get into this mess? Like, that's definitely a bride trying to escape somewhere. And apparently she is just, the only place she can go is inside Jeffrey Epstein's mansion. Oh, thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Jeff. The shit is flying so fast we don't have a chance to smell it. It's a good way to put it. No notes. I get what you're putting down. But I mean, again, it just, before we even get into it's like right off the bat, there's something like your fucking red flags are going up, right? Even if that's not the first thing even if that's not the thing that makes you leave, like there are some things here that should definitely, like this here is, they talk about this is a letter from Woody Allen. That could be a whole separate side story. Woody Allen and his love for young underage girls. But there is just a letter that he's written to Jeffrey Epstein, which, I mean, one can only assume or decipher it as being in some sort of like tongue or code. Like he brings up this castle Dracula they call like Jeffrey Epstein's mansion, like not actually calling it. It's like, you know what I mean? Like just having different words for things. And like, this was such a great time and too bad we couldn't have more fun in this time. Like, it was just all like very shadily written. Like, you don't know what the fuck he's actually trying to say. Like, only Jeffrey Epstein would know. No worries. Take your time. It's disturbing. I mean, it's disturbing. And that's just kind of the lead into this whole thing. It says here, a letter from Woody Allen from Mr. Epstein, for Mr. Epstein's 63rd birthday in 2016. So again, imagine knowing all the shit that we know that came out previously, prior to 2016, about Jeffrey Epstein, and then still writing a letter like this. And I know this is on Woody Allen, but still, I mean, this just goes to show the friends that Jeffrey Epstein kept, right? Like, even in 2016, they're still writing them letters like this. Prioritize no gloomy Transylvanian fortress. He spent the years turning the 7-story, 21,000 square foot townhouse into a place where he could flaunt and deepen his connection to the rich and powerful, even as hints of his dark side lurked within, according to previously undisclosed photos and documents showing how he lived in his later years. It goes on to show here photographs that were inside, just strewn around on different desks and bureaus and tables in this fucking mansion. And you can see Jeffrey Epstein. This just goes to show the reach, the connections. Like, we're not talking about somebody that just had like high profile connections in New York City or like New York City and LA, right? Like East Coast, West Coast type of thing. Like, you know, a lot of fucking people do. This is a guy that has pictures with from everybody from the Pope to Fidel Castro to fucking Bill Gates to Bill Clinton to Steve Bannon. I mean, Prince Andrew. I mean, and the list just fucking continues to go on here. I mean, you can see here with the Pope. You know, they go on to say here, photos show a contention crowded with some framed snapshot of Mr. Epstein's connection to some of the world's most recognizable people, right? Goes on to tell us here that this is Mr. Epstein alongside Pope John Paul II, Mick Jagger, Elon Musk, and Fidel fucking Castro. I mean, how's that for a fucking lineup right there? Just in the first set of pictures that we see, right? It goes on. It goes on. Also pictured here, Larry Summers, former President Bill Clinton, and Richard Branson. Right, and I'm pretty sure in one of these is Mohammed bin Salman, fucking right, the guy that chopped up fucking Khashoggi. You know, we all know Larry Summers and in his fucking wrongdoings. But I mean, it just continues here. Look at the fucking clientele, and obviously here, fucking right up front and center, right next to the island, is fucking Donald Trump, Jeffrey Epstein, and Melania. Right, let me see if I can maybe do this. Make it a little clearer for you guys. Right there up front, right? And there's right up top above here where you can see Melania and Donald is Steve Bannon with Bill Gates. Not sure who the guy in the blue here is in the center. Chat, let me know if you guys know. Audio sound. Why is there no audio? Audio is going in and out, Boston Brian. Let me see here. Settings, audio, microphone's right. Speaker is right. Everything should be okay. Is anybody else getting that issue? All right, thank you. Producer yelled from the other room. Nothing wrong with the audio. All right, so we'll continue. So like I was saying, nearby photo from 2000 showed Mr. Epstein with Mr. Trump and the First Lady, minus Ms. Maxwell. Next to that was a framed dollar bill signed by Bill Gates that you can see here circled, possibly as a payment of a bet that says, quote, "I was wrong," the Microsoft co-founder wrote over George Washington's face. Who knows what that could have been about. It's not, there's nothing wrong. I got you. Okay. Appreciate it. Up a grand staircase of Mr. Epstein's wood-paneled office featured a massive desk. Photo showed a taxidermied tiger lounging on a lush rug. And again, let's see here. I'm looking for that picture of him with MBS. I don't think it's... Well, it'll show us. I think it tells us anyway. I'm trying to figure out who these people... Oh, is that him right there? No, one of them. But it's crazy the amount of people that he's with here. You know what I mean? This is just one of his rooms. Another flight up on the third floor of Mr. Epstein's sanctum. A suite that included his bedroom, the mansion's infamous massage room, and a cluster of bedrooms. Right now, can you see anything circled here? Can you see what's circled here up in the corner? Here is a security camera mounted in the corner above his bed. Was a surveillance camera. Photo showed. Now this was just like the easy one. Right, this is like the one if the girl comes in, they'd be like, "Oh, what the fuck is that?" You know, even if they'd say anything, and they'll have to take it down because there's probably 47 more hidden in that room. Right, so you can see that there up in the corner. This goes on to show another angle of another camera up in the corner there. A second camera can be seen in the adjoining room. Several of Mr. Epstein's victims have said the mansion was outfitted with a network of hidden video cameras. In the massage room were paintings of naked women, a large silver ball and chain, and shelves stocked with lubricant. Now, does that remind us of where did we see just recently of somebody having like fucking copious amounts of lubrication, of baby oil? I wonder how those fucking, if they rolled together, right? According to photos reviewed by the Times, Mr. Epstein regularly directed teenage girls, some recruited from middle schools in Queens, to massage him while he was naked. Sometimes he masturbated in front of them, according to court records and interviews with victims. Sometimes he raped or assaulted them. No surveillance cameras were visible in the photos of the massage room. An earlier collection of letters presented Mr. Epstein in a leather-bound album for his 50th birthday in 2003 reflected an era of life before he was first arrested. The book included contributions from Mr. Trump, Mr. Clinton, among dozens of others, the Wall Street Journal reported. Mr. Trump has denied a report in the Wall Street Journal that he contributed a sexually suggestive note. That's the drawing we talked about where he signed his name as the suggested pubic hair in it. Trump sued the news organization. Defamation. Clinton's spokesperson has said the president is unaware of Mr. Epstein's crimes. This goes on to show who the fuck has a taxidermied fucking tiger just sitting around? Oh, thank you, Patrick. Let's go, brother. Appreciate you, dude. Appreciate you. Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. Like, who the fuck has a taxidermied tiger lying around? Fucking crazy. Unbelievable. But it's just one of these stories that you have to kind of read again. As I've been talking about the Epstein thing just continues to get deeper. And I'm not saying this is like new revelations. I'm not saying that everything, even that Howard Stern thing that we showed last show from 1999, or the clip from 2006 where Donald Trump talks about hiring, an underage girl, 17 years old. Right? Like, these are probably things that have been known and seen and out in the internet for years. But the fact that we're now, they're being dug back up is building the case even fucking stronger against Donald Trump as it pertains to his relationship again with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. So this is just another great deep dive into a little bit of, the life of Jeffrey Epstein, the people, the friends that he had, the company he kept. Stern is retiring. Is he? I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm sure he'd fucking get a nice deal. But again, this shit is just nuts to me. I still can't get over that. All right, but let's get into this story here. This is, again, MSNBC. There are receipts, Simone says. So I appreciate you guys. Make sure you are hitting that like button. Please send a couple comments in that chat. Send a couple emojis in there. I do appreciate it. Again, this is Blunt Politics. I'm Boston Brian. Let's get into this short, just 5 minutes. I don't even know if we'll get into the whole thing, but let's see what they got to say as far as new receipts, because I'm all about new receipts, ladies and gentlemen. I like them new receipts. Let's get some new receipts in our life. How about that? All right, let's go. Appreciate you. Let's start this at the beginning. Yes, it is.
It really seems like we learn new details about Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein's years-long relationship literally all the time. Last week, Trump said this about kicking Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago.
Stole people that work for me. I said, don't ever do that again. He did it again. And I threw him out of the place, persona non grata. I threw him out, and that was it.
The people, or young girls, a young woman, Virginia Giuffre, who worked in the spa as an attendant. But now there's new reporting from the Daily Beast, and it gives a different account of their split. Quote, Epstein was a member of the Mar-a-Lago Club until October 2007, more than a year after he was indicted and released on bail, according to the book, The Grifters Club, Trump, Mar-a-Lago, and the Selling of the Presidency.
Oh, isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? Epstein was a member of the club until October 2007. Now, if we remember our timelines correctly, right, when Virginia Giuffre was talking about, her accounts of this whole thing, and Donald Trump recounting that on Air Force One, and trying to tell us that because of what happened at the spa and Epstein poaching underage girls that were working at the spa in Mar-a-Lago, he then terminated the relationship, or at least terminated his membership at the club. Right? He didn't want to go too fucking far, if he even went that far at all. But we're supposed to believe that even though we know 2 years after that, we have accounts of Donald Trump again praising not only his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein and Epstein as a man, but also the fact that they have in common that they like beautiful girls and the fact that they like him on the younger side. 2 years after Donald Trump says he supposedly cut ties, and that's 2002. This is now 2007, fucking 5 years after that. And Epstein was still a member of the club. So it gets fucking deeper, ladies and gentlemen. More than a year after he was indicted and released on bail, according to the book, still a member at the club of fucking Mar-a-Lago. Petalago there. Right? And I wonder why. Because Donald Trump was probably still hiring underage girls at the fucking spa, so Jeffrey Epstein probably couldn't fucking help himself. So again, this is now 7 years after Donald Trump says he cut ties with Jeffrey Epstein. 7 fucking years, ladies and gentlemen. Craziness.
footnotes of their book. The team of Miami Herald journalists behind the book reported, quote, the authors viewed a membership list showing that Epstein's account had been closed in October 2007.
So let me ask a question, everybody.
2007, guys. That's fucking unbelievable. And here he is, lying his face off every time he gets in front of a camera without the media ever bringing this up. And why not bring this up? Hey, you're telling us that you cut ties with him in 2000, even though you talked very nicely about him in 2002, like you guys were best fucking friends still. Not only that, but he has his account at Mar-a-Lago, his membership was still active and open until 2007. Like, what's going on there? Can we talk about that maybe a little bit?
When did they have that conversation? He kicked Epstein to the curb. What year was that when that happened? Was that in 2007 or was that in 2005 or 2003? I mean, can we just stop with the craziness, thinking that Donald Trump somehow did the Heisman with his relationship with Epstein? They were buddies. They were buds. They were wrapped up. They partied together. They oogled together. They did all the things together. And so Donald Trump's sitting up here now saying, well, I told him to stop and he didn't, and I meant it.
No. Let's get it straight. Even by Donald Trump's own words, even by his own story, even by his own accounts, Jeffrey Epstein poached underage girls working at the spa in Mar-a-Lago, Donald Trump was told by multiple employees at Mar-a-Lago that it happened, and he either did nothing about it, either just gave Jeffrey Epstein what we are supposed to be led to believe was like some stern talking to, and actually it took the second time that multiple employees, again, this is Donald Trump's own accounts, by Donald Trump's own words, the second time multiple employees at Mar-a-Lago had to bring it to his attention that Jeffrey Epstein, his best friend and pedophile, was poaching young underage girls from the spa at Mar-a-Lago. That's when Donald Trump says he acted. Now, even though that's a lie, we know, even that doesn't make any fucking sense. So even the lies and the distractions and like his fucking like defense makes absolutely no sense. Even if you take it at face value from what he's saying, it's still fucking egregiously wrong. Still disgusting that he would allow it to happen a second time on his fucking premises.
It's like there are receipts. It's not Jeffrey Epstein, I feel like, and Donald Trump, just like how Trump used, literally, he would be at the Don King fights. Right. Donald Trump at one point was the most mentioned name in rap music. He was a key part of the culture. Jeffrey Epstein, in the same vein, he liked to brag about his connections. This is a story from the Daily Beast about how Epstein and Maxwell used Trump's fame to groom a 13-year-old girl. This is a woman that testified.
I'm sorry. Can we get that one more time? They used Trump's fame to groom. How old was she?
Used Trump's fame to groom a 13-year-old girl. This is a woman that testified in the trial of Ghislaine Maxwell under a pseudonym called Jane. So
remember when we played here on Howard Stern where Donald Trump had to make a deal. Little Ivanka, 17-year-old Ivanka, had to make a deal with her father that her father would not go and try to date anybody younger than she was at the time. Again, her being 17, which means 16-year-olds and younger. So it's not too fucking far-fetched or hard to believe, based on Donald Trump's own statements, his own fucking interviews, his own time spent on stage and things said from his own fucking tiny little lips, that gives us the reason and the evidence that we need to at least fucking reason or listen to accounts like this and know that there's some possible truth to every single one of them.
She says is what they write about her testimony. From the very beginning, there was a lot of bragging about how they were friends with essentially everyone. And they knew everyone, Jane said. And they would sort of name drop or sometimes put people on speakerphones whose voices I didn't know and then say, oh, well, this was so-and-so and so-and-so. And just, say that they were very well connected and affluent. Look, you can try to crop Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein out of some of the pictures, but you cannot take Donald Trump out of this story. Jane, in that reporting, goes on to say, and she said this on the stand, that some of the names that Jeffrey Epstein would mention to her would be, she mentioned Donald Trump's name 3 times on the stand. She also mentioned Bill Clinton's name. And then she says that she was introduced to Donald Trump by Jeffrey Epstein at Mar-a-Lago in December of 1994. And I will note, she was about 14 years old.
It's interesting to me, the progress that is
14.
being made by.
We're talking about like if there's one thing that could unite that fucking people on either side of the fucking political fucking aisle, the political spectrum, could fucking unite behind, is the fact that this is fucking disgusting, egregious, should be called out, should be fucking revealed. Everybody should be held to account, should be prosecuted and held to brought to justice. The victims should see their fucking abusers brought to justice. Like, if there's one thing that we should be able to fucking get behind, and I think that's, again, why this is such a sticking point here and why Donald Trump's having such a fucking difficult time getting this past his MAGA base and getting them to, kind of see past it and believe his fucking deflections and believe his lies and believe his fucking propaganda, is because this is, again, one thing that they've been pretty much rabid about. If you go back to QAnon, you go back to Pizzagate, right? Like, he's been feeding his base this. The commentators, the high profile commentators in the MAGA base have been feeding the base this. And again, I think fucking, children, the protection of children is something that at least should be able to fucking, stay on the political fucking zeitgeist and to stay in the spotlight. And I think that's exactly what's going on here. I think people are finally realizing, that, we're talking about fucking 13-year-old girls. We're talking about direct connections to Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. We're talking about possible pardons for one of the fucking most monstrous human beings now incarcerated in our federal fucking Bureau of Prison Systems, in Ghislaine Maxwell. After she gets a fucking cushy switch from a minimum security institute that was supposed to be the fucking the lowest, the most minimum security that she could possibly attend as a sex fucking offender, but somehow gets a waiver to go to an even cushier spot in Texas at the behest of the Trump fucking regime because of her connections, right? Fucking crazy. It really is. It really is. So just another, what is this? We got another, let's see if we'll just, I never know how much to play this. We'll play just another couple seconds of this, see how much they get into as far as new receipts. If not, we'll get into either the live updates from the Fort Stewart shooting, or again, the video coming out of that town hall with Mike Flood and how pissed off people from Lincoln, Nebraska actually are and how informed they are. I was, I don't hope this isn't demeaning or degrading, but I was pleasantly surprised at how informed they were numerically, statistically, factually at what's going on. So hopefully, I guess that's not demeaning or degrading, but I that's just the truth. That's just the truth. So just a couple more seconds of this, couple more minutes of this, and then we'll get into our next story. I appreciate it. Hit that like button, guys. Thank you.
The House Oversight Committee on this question of releasing the documents, and that just as these questions around their relationship have metastasized, so too has this inquiry. Because if you look at the subpoena that Oversight is issuing, it's not just the files, as the files have traditionally been thought of. They're also now talking about third-party communications with DOJ. Let me read you just a little. In complying with the subpoena, be apprised that the U.S. House of Representatives and the committee do not recognize any purported non-disclosure privileges associated with the common law, including but not limited to the deliberative process privilege, the attorney-client privilege, the attorney work product protections, any purported privileges or protections from disclosure under the Freedom of Information Act, or any purported contractual privileges such as non-disclosure agreement. If they were actually ever able to execute on the subpoena, there would be so much more information than if the files had been released in the first place.
Well, there it is.
There it is. I mean, and again, I support it, anything that, Democrats in the House, in the Senate, anywhere in Congress right now are doing to release any of the information. I don't give a fuck who it's on. I don't give a fuck who they have to call in, right? Oh, Jesus. I think something sounds like something just fell in the corner. My apologies. I don't care who gets called in. I don't care, whatever dribs and drabs have to come, at the fucking, at the defense of, not the defense, but, while the Trump administration is trying to hold this at all costs, like anything that we can get, I'm taking, right? So let's see if we can hop into, again, on that front, let's go into the GOP town hall that erupted and blew up in his face. His partners, his colleagues said, don't do it, ladies and gentlemen. They said, don't do it. And he was like, no, I'm a badass. I'm a badass. I can get up there. I can take it. I can handle it. And it did not go well for Representative Mike Flood at his Lincoln, Nebraska town hall. Let's just see if we can get into this. Is just a kind of, I think, a short clip, I want to say a montage of some of the highlights from this clip. But let's take a look. And this was the woman that I was referencing when I said I'm pleasantly surprised at how much she knows at exactly what this Trump administration is doing. And you'll understand in a second, what I mean by that. So let's take a look at this. Like I said, hit that like button. I'm Boston Brian. This is Blunt Politics. I really appreciate it. This is, again, Mike Flood and his Lincoln, Nebraska town hall going very, very poorly. Let's check it out.
My question is fiscal. With 450 million FEMA dollars being reallocated to open.
And she got her fucking notes. She got her fucking notepad, ladies and gentlemen. She ain't fucking around. All right. She came here to fucking play. She did not come here to just sit on the sidelines and up. She came here to participate, as we say in Boston, right? She knows her shit. She had it written down, research. Check this out. Check this out.
Alcatraz, and 600 million taxpayer FEMA dollars being used to now open more concentration camps, and ICE burning through $8.4 million a day to illegally detain people. How much does it cost for fascism? How much do the taxpayers have to pay for a fascist country?
How much do the citizens have to pay for a fascist country? And I'll even play it again. I'll even fucking play it again so we can get the numbers right. Let's talk about the numbers that she was talking about, right? Let's talk about the numbers, because she brings up Alligator Alcatraz and the amount that went into that. And we're talking fucking Alligator Alcatraz, ladies and gentlemen. Something that was like, there's no fucking foundational breaking. There's no, like ridiculous amount of concrete going into building the sites. It's a fucking bunch of tents put up together. So you tell me how it took $400-500 million in order to put up a couple fucking tents, some beds, and some fucking like some makeshift AC that doesn't work, and everybody's sweating to fucking death. And if it rains, everybody floods out, and the mosquitoes are too much to bear and shit. So like I'm just kind of curious how that comes out of FEMA, and when where that money was allocated to before that fucking shitty concentration camp you've built in Florida. So let's just take a look one more time. I don't know if I got it in the right spot here, but I'll try.
Camps and ICE burning through $8.4 million Alligator Alcatraz.
One more time. All right, here we go.
My question is fiscal. With 450 million FEMA dollars being reallocated to open Alligator Alcatraz, and 600 million taxpayer FEMA dollars being used to now open more concentration camps, and ICE burning through $8.4 million a day to illegally detain people, how much does it cost for fascism? How much do the taxpayers have to pay for a fascist country?
Right, and if they're this fucking pissed off, right, and if they're this fucking amped up, and they're this on the point of talking about a fascist government, a fascist country, and fucking money being allocated, to house fucking and detain U.S. citizens in a fucking horrible condition, or people that shouldn't be there to begin with, in a spot that shouldn't be there to begin with. Like if this is Lincoln, Nebraska type rhetoric right now, like, holy shit, imagine what's going to happen come midterms when the policies only continue, when we know the fucking Trump regime isn't going to fucking stop any of this craziness anytime soon. They're not going to all of a sudden come to their senses on tariffs, on their fucking Russia policies, on their feeble attempts at backing Ukraine. Like, they're not going to come to their senses on sending ICE around. We talked about on the last show, Pete Hegseth's brother and his plan of putting military on the streets for years to come, to work side by side with ICE to terrorize communities for years to come. So let's hear what this asshole has to say in return. I'm curious.
Americans went to the polls in November.
Jesus Christ. He's sweating like fucking Cenk Uygur in a hot debate. Holy shit. He's sweating it out, boy. And listen to the crowd, guys. Listen to that crowd. Ready?
Fascist country!
Americans.
They even put a cut in there. There's even a cut in that clip, and the fucking crowd is still going crazy. We're in Nebraska, ladies and gentlemen. Lincoln, Nebraska, right? Like, credit where credit is due. They're fucking amped up. This lady knows her shit. And clearly the people around her are just as animated and just as fucking, angry and frustrated as she is, which is a great fucking sign. Not only for you, but for me and Democrats and progressives and liberals and people on the left. It's a good fucking sign because midterms is what we all should be focusing on winning, right? We need to make sure that we fucking take back that house. So again, if we have this to start off as a base to talk about the great or better policies that we have as far as a party, as far as a political movement, then I think we're starting off in a good space. So let's just hear the mumbles and jumbles from Mike Flood over the roar of the crowd in Lincoln, Nebraska, after the comments from the woman about how much we now have to pay, what it costs now the American people for a fascist government, which is fucking good to hear. Let's go.
Went to the polls in November, and they had a choice between a Democratic candidate that had an open border, no enforcement, fentanyl, drugs, human trafficking. And they had a choice between that and a candidate that said, close the border.
Do you hear the fucking crowd? Do you hear that lady in the crowd? Listen to the fucking blood-curdling scream in the crowd. Ready? Listen to that lady.
Fentanyl, drugs, human trafficking. And they had a choice between that and a candidate that said,
damn, they're fucking amped up in Lincoln. They are amped up in Lincoln. And yes, it was also, Mark, good. It was also good to hear the Angry Ginger talking about Diane and Benny and how everybody should be checking out the 21st Century Suffragettes as well. So good to hear, everybody talking about it as well. But this guy just fucking mumbling, stumbling, and jumbling over fucking the roar of the crowd and the people that are just more amped up than I've heard in a long time at any sort of political town hall or any political event. I guess since the last time a Republican tried to hold a town hall, right? Let's go.
close the border, get illegal immigrants out of our country.
Get this guy a fucking towel. Somebody come hose this guy down. Jesus Christ. Looks like he just went fucking 12 rounds with Ali. What's happening to this guy? He's fucking regretting this. The moment he stepped on stage, he had instant regret. The instant regret the moment he saw the passion and the anger in the crowd. Right? Fucking unbelievable.
Stop the fentanyl, stop the human trafficking, stop the drugs, stop the crime, stop the violence. That's what Americans voted for. Americans voted for a border that is secure. And I support the president enforcing our immigration laws.
I have read a dozen or so books on authoritarianism and fascism. You said in Seward that you were not a fascist. Your complicity says otherwise. Have you ever...
All right, dude. All right, dude. And hold on. I got to give a shout out to Julie's mom's birthday. 87th birthday for Julie's mom. Happy birthday, Julie's mom. Hope you have a wonderful and, relaxing, and people are taking care of you. You're very pampered on your 87th birthday. Big shout out. Hope you're watching. Thank you for listening if you are. And a big shout out to Julie. Thank you so much for bringing that to our attention. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. God love you. God love you, dear. Let's go. Appreciate that. And fucking, speaking of which, let's go Lincoln, Nebraska. I didn't have that on my bingo card today either that I was going to wake up and say, but let's go.
Have you ever spoken out against this administration and its Project 2025, which is a fascist machine?
Fascists don't hold town.
They're talking about Project 2025 at the Lincoln, Nebraska town hall. Who the fuck saw that coming? Who the hell saw that coming? One more time.
Spoken out against this administration and its Project 2025, which is a fascist
I love the
machine.
Shirt. Yeah, Project 2025, which is a fascist machine, he says. Sorry, I got distracted by the lady's shirt here. Go fact yourself. Right? Again, it's remarkable and fucking really heartening to see this. We're starting early here with people. I told you, people are frustrated. When I told you, I've been saying it on the last couple of shows, probably the last couple of weeks, where I do believe that we are coming into, what I think is a golden age for progressive politics, where we just have so much now to fucking run on that we just need to pick wisely our candidates going forward to make sure that we have the best representation of the most popular policies to represent the most people in this country, regardless of financial status, regardless of skin color, regardless of whatever title you hold. Like that's what I think we're coming into now, because I think the people are going to be so pissed off, as we're seeing here, at fucking case in fucking point here. And this is only going to continue, right? The fucking hornet's nest is only going to continue to be stirred up. Let's fucking go.
Fascists don't hold town halls with open question and answer series.
All right, so that's fucking. I just wanted to play a little bit of that because tell me how awesome that is to see. Good shit to see. Good shit to see out there in Lincoln, Nebraska. Good to see them holding the Republican politicians to account, holding their fucking feet to the fire there. Again, just wanted to show you guys that and let you know that you're not alone in your frustration. You're not alone in your anger, right? There are people from fucking far and wide, east to west, north and south, that are just as pissed off as you are, right? So let's continue this movement. Let's continue this growth. Hit that like button so we can continue to show and spread this information. Let's grow this movement because, again, we need to take back as many seats in the House, seats in the Senate, obviously the White House. We need to take back this fucking government. That's what we need to do. That's what we need to do. And it's good to see that people are pissed off and, the anger is growing. Regardless of where you are in this country. All right. So let's just take a look at this story here. Obviously, with something that people have been talking about here, that Army sergeant that shot 5 soldiers at Fort Stewart. This is just kind of, I want to give you up on a little rundown. There's a little 2-minute clip here of a witness describes the scene, just to give us a little more insight as to what actually happened here. This is what we know so far. An Army sergeant is in custody after he allegedly used his personal handgun to shoot 5 fellow soldiers this morning at Fort Stewart military base in Georgia. Brigadier General John Lubis, commanding general of the 3rd Infantry Division, identified the suspected shooter as Cornelius Radford. We're still not certain about the motivation. He said at a news conference, the 5 wounded soldiers are in stable condition, are expected to recover. Lubis said Fort Stewart trains and deploys active and reserve Army units. It is about 40 miles southwest of Savannah. Again, this is just a short little clip here talking about the firsthand account of a witness there describing what they saw. So you see, we can just take a look at a little bit of this, all right? Hopefully, if it plays any day.
Let's start with the eye charts.
Oh, fuck.
What makes you think I can read?
I don't know why everybody has to do this now with the goddamn ads. Can't even skip it. No skipping available. All right, we got 20 seconds to talk. Hit that like button. You got 20 seconds to hop out of that chat. Hit that like button. I would appreciate it if you haven't done so yet. Let's get equal amount of views and likes. I don't know if anybody's ever done that in YouTube. Let's try to do that. All right, let's head back into this. 7, 6, 5, 4.
Exam for $159.95.
Come on.
America's best.
Shut up.
From my understanding, you were dropping off a delivery. You dropped it off. You got back in your truck. And as you were leaving, you say that all hell broke loose. Walk us through what you saw and what was going through your mind.
Yeah, I guess the best way to describe it, being a truck driver for the 30 years I've been, it was reminiscent of what happened after 9/11. I was on the road then, and the same thing happened. The whole world just went quiet. It shut down. Nobody knew what was going on. In the few minutes it took for me to get from the delivery to that north gate where people who are stationed there would go to Savannah, and it was pretty active. There was a lot of people going out that gate, probably going to Savannah. Everything stopped. I was the first truck at that gate, and they just shut it down. And the people in the cars knew less than I did. I didn't know anything, neither did they. They just wouldn't let us out. And slowly they started turning them around. In an 18-wheeler, I couldn't do what they did, but I had to get out. They got mad that I got out of my truck. I couldn't figure out what to do.
So he's a truck driver, just happened to be on scene here. Crazy.
They had county law enforcement on the other side of the gate.
Surprising to hear that the suspect was apprehended. Usually in something like this, they're either on a fucking suicide by cop mission or, they do the deed themselves, having gone this far.
Base police on inside, but when I got out, they just told me to turn around. They had to stop the cars for me to turn around. I went back to the PX or the commissary, the only place I knew to go. And between that gate and back there was no one else on the base except for when I got to the PX. There was two food trucks, a Mexican and an Asian food truck.
All right. Well, I thought he was going to give some accounts of the actual shooting. I apologize. Let's see if he dives into it a little bit more here.
We weren't, but I'm thinking World War III started while I was on the base. And about 40 minutes into it is when I'm relieved that nobody got killed, because in the rumor mill, you know how things get spread around. The soldiers that were at those food trucks were telling me they heard 5 people were killed. There was one shooter that got caught and one was barricaded in. I guess that was a false report. But
well, you know the game of telephone there, but you know he says there that it sounded like World War III on the base. But I thought he'd give a little a deeper insight. My apologies. I thought he kind of saw everything that was going on, but he just kind of seems like a truck driver that happened to be in the area there. But yeah, again, obviously something that is an ongoing problem in this country as far as gun violence, whether it be on military bases, schools, theaters, malls, parking lots, on the streets, wherever the hell it may be. Something that needs to be continuously talked about, continuously focused on, and legislation needs to be drawn up in order to, again, make it more difficult for people that shouldn't have weapons in their possession to have weapons in their possession. I don't think that's too much to ask for here. All right, let's get into Rachel Maddow's warning that she gives us here. This is Rachel Maddow in a video that she put out that's getting a lot of attention here. Already got 964,000 views. This is August 4th. It's titled, Maddow, U.S. profoundly changed by authoritarian leader. Quote, we're beyond waiting and seeing now. So let's see a little bit of what, the warning that Rachel has to give here. I'm going to bump it up just a little bit so we can get through just a little more than we may have if we keep it at regular speed. All right, let's check this out. Make sure you guys hit the like button. I appreciate your support, your loyalty here. Thank you to everybody that's gifting and supporting and signing up and, gifting memberships and sending super chats. Bust a buck, try your luck, support some independent media. It really goes a long way in helping. I promise it does. So let's get in here. Rachel Maddow's warning to this country about our authoritarian leader in the, the cliff that we've gone off already. Let's go.
You can narrow or widen the aperture as much as you want. You can look at the very big picture or the small local picture anywhere in the country. And we try to do as much of both of those things as we can every week here on this show. But whether you're looking at small scale local stories or the biggest picture stories about what's happening in our country, the story is the same. And it is now an undeniable thing. We have crossed a line. We are in a place we did not want to be, but we are there. The thing we were all warning about for the last few years is not coming. It is here. We are in it. This is what it likes, it turns out. This is what it's like, right? It's August. It's a Monday. Every day the sun rises and the sun sets, and there are, sports and movies, and there are new hit songs. There are scandals here and there. There are crimes. There's everybody's personal quotient of family drama and health worries and money worries and falling in and out of love and in and out of faith.
That's the problem with this whole thing, though. That's like the whole, frog in the boiling water aspect. Like, life continues for everybody. Like, things seem to continue as normal as behind the scenes. Things get worse and worse and worse, and more rights are being stripped, and more U.S. citizens are being shipped away. More allies and more relationships on the world stage are being damaged. And it seems like because you wake up every day and you go to school and you go to work and you take your kids here and you take your kids there, like, it has the feeling like that things are normal when they are everything but normal. And we need to be like continuously paying attention to this shit, as Rachel says here. So let's continue.
Has not stopped, and none of our personal lives have stopped. But also at the same time, life in the United States is profoundly changing, is profoundly different than it was even 6 months ago. Because we do now live in a country that has an authoritarian leader in charge. We have a consolidating dictatorship in our country. And it sounds melodramatic to say it, I know.
Right, and I feel that because, I've been called hyperbolic for fucking 10 years now, as I've been making comparisons to Donald Trump's rhetoric, the policies and the beliefs and the principles of him, Stephen Miller, and the people in their fucking orbit, their sphere, as it pertains to the likeness and the one-to-one connections between that and, Nazi rhetoric, Nazi propaganda, the uses of fascism by Mussolini. It goes right along with the quotes that we know that Donald Trump fucking recited word for word out of Mein Kampf. We've gone over that. I've done Midas Touch videos on that. You can take a look at those. I'm going to do a pretty much a remake or another highlight as it pertains to his new, firing of the statisticians, his lawsuits against the media. I mean, the list goes on as to his authoritarian, fascistic-like moves that he's been making. Just because it's not death camps, just because he's not reciting Mein Kampf does not mean that they're not using, Nazi-like propaganda that they would have used as it pertains to taking over the media, controlling the media, getting out the lies and propaganda they want you to believe. Like I said, firing statisticians so that you can't hear the real numbers if they're bad for this regime, so he can make up and input his own fake numbers in there. Like the list just continues to grow and grow as to the examples of the authoritarian nature of Donald Trump, even though he's so fucking stupid and simple-minded. Like, again, I used to say that he just kind of backs into fascism. He backs into authoritarianism. Like, I don't think he's up there thinking that, I'm going to take over the world and control millions of people and yada, 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 and put people in concentration camps. I don't think he's thinking that. I don't think his mind goes that far, but he's so unable to admit guilt, so unable to admit fault or wrongdoing, so unable to have people around him that tell him the truth or tell him when he's wrong, that he just backs into this fascist position of always making up lies, obfuscating, always fucking, trying to, fake his way through any situation or story that he has no recollection of, no knowledge of, but will sit there and bullshit all the way through the interview to make it seem like he's the all-knowing power on that fucking subject. It's crazy.
Just go with that for a minute, right? Think in melodramatic terms. Think in cinematic terms. Imagine the cartoon-level caricature of what you think a dictatorship looks like. I mean, it's secret police, right? A massive, anonymous, unbadged, literally masked, totally unaccountable internal police force that apparently has infinite funding, but no identifiable leadership. And they act in ways designed to instill maximum fear and use maximum force. I mean, when you imagine an authoritarian country, right, what you imagine is masked secret police breaking people's car windows and snatching people off the streets and out of church parking lots and courtroom hallways and taking them away with no charges, no notice, no paperwork, no explanation, not letting them see lawyers, and then moving them secretly to what are effectively black site prisons, where they won't tell you who's there and where no one's allowed in to see what's going on. Right? And that kind of a cartoon caricature of an authoritarian country, the one you might have imagined in melodramatic and cinematic terms ever before we got here, you would expect, right, that you'd have a scapegoated minority group blamed for all things. In our case, immigrants, right? And the new extraordinary powers and shows of force by the secret police, among other things. All these extraordinary powers and shows of force will be framed as necessary to stop this terrible internal enemy, right? Frame everything as immigration enforcement. Because for immigration enforcement, not only is all force justified, but maximum force is preferred.
Now, I mean, just going along with that story, might as well cut to this as long as we're talking about it. And she's talking about ICE and what a fascist government looks like. So let's take a look at this real quick. This was posted on Blue Sky today. It says here 4 hours ago. I'll make this bigger. Let me play this from the beginning. Put at the beginning here. And then again, this is ICE immigration enforcement operation at Home Depots, as we've been talking about here. So they're not going into gangland. They're not going into the areas of the worst where they hang out and commit their fucking crimes and criminalities. But again, taking the easy route out and going for the easy pickings of people looking for a fucking honest day's work, right? To feed their family, to feed themselves, to pay rent. The people that continue to make this country go, the people that's going to make these the houses in the community painted, the fucking lawns kept, the roofs fucking still on that aren't leaking. These are the people that do that shit. So let's take a look at this. This is again posted today. Oops, sorry, let me turn it up. My apologies. Be better with some sound. Here we go.
Court ruling preventing federal agents from detaining people here in LA based on their location, appearance, or language. We're here in the parking lot of that Home Depot off of Wilshire Boulevard. This is the area here where that latest immigration enforcement operation took place. Just on the other side of this parking lot, there are also a number of street vendors. I have reached out to both ICE and DHS to find out more about this operation. It is still unclear how many people were either detained or arrested here this morning. Let's get you straight to some videos shared with NBC4 from earlier this morning. Here in this video, you can see what appears to be several Border Patrol agents in tactical gear taking...
Like they're in fucking Fallujah. Like they're in fucking downtown Baghdad. You know? Fucking good. You see that shit? You see that shit? Look at these motherfuckers. Look at these motherfuckers. What are you dressed for, buddy? What the fuck are you dressed for, you cosplay pussy? What did you expect to find at the fucking Home Depot parking lot that required this tactical gear that you so fucking chose to wear? Like, get the fuck out of here. Look at this bullshit.
Agents in tactical gear taking several people into custody in the parking lot here near several street vendors. You can also see what appears to be a white van with a number of federal...
Now, isn't it reminiscent of the fucking, what are the freedom fuckers? What are the fucking American First freedom fuckers that go around in the Penske trucks, right? And it's just a fucking disaster every time because they like marching through city streets and the city centers for like 5 seconds before they're chased away by fucking anti-fascists all over the place. I mean, why the fuck are you showing up in unmarked vehicles, masked, dressed like you're in fucking downtown Fallujah, or like you're just some fucking fat fucks going on a fucking paintball run? Like, what is this fucking cosplay bullshit?
Agents inside. Again, this is the latest immigration enforcement operation that has been carried out. There have been several in June at other Home Depot locations and businesses across Southern California. Earlier this morning, I spoke with one worker who was
there's
here.
a Penske truck. Holy shit. I was only fucking kidding. I was only fucking kidding when I said the fucking Penske truck. Where is this? Where's this fucking bar? Where's this bar? Here it is. I was only fucking kidding. What does this remind you of, huh? Hold on. Let's see here. And I got another video to show after that Mel just sent me of them actually jumping out of this fucking box truck, videotaping it like they're going to put it on fucking social media, as I'm sure they've already done. Well, let's see here. What are the freedom fuckers? What are they called? Freedom. You know what? The chat's probably telling me right now. What are they called? Patriot Front. Yes. Chat is always on point. Fucking chat is always on point. Thank you, chat. Patriot Front fuckers. Now, let's see if we can get just a couple photos and kind of fucking, let's match them up side by side. The fucking degenerate. Hold on. I'll even boil it down a little more here. Here we go. This remind you of anybody, guys? This remind you of anybody? The fucking freedom fuckers here in their Penske truck. And then we got these assholes. Way to go. And then you got these assholes in their fucking Penske truck. I don't see really much of a difference, to tell you the truth. I'm sorry, but I don't see too much of a fucking goddamn difference. I see a bunch of assholes in masks in fucking cosplay uniform jumping out of a fucking rental truck to try to intimidate people in this fucking country. That's what I see. Anybody else seeing anything different? I don't know. Let's continue. Fuck me.
With one worker who was here, he told me he was undocumented and that when the federal agents got here before 7 this morning, he says he started
and they got the fucking pipe thing on the top of the truck to kind of mask it as a work truck, or did they just literally just steal somebody's fucking truck that they just illegally arrested in the parking lot? Because that looks like a fucking a tube you'd put some plumbing pipe, electrical conduit, steel rebar, fucking some construction material in. Why would you need that to go on a fucking ICE raid?
Run away. Here is more from him. NBC4 also spoke with the organizer of the Los Angeles Tenants Union that was also here this morning.
How many agents did you see?
Around 15 or 20, I think. This area, where the people sell
I'll tell you,
food,
this guy's got fucking some cojones on him, just sitting here talking to the fucking media. I can tell him that much. Unless this is, a good time after they've already cleared the area of all ICE scumbags.
Morning, they arrest 5 people in that area, but they arrest more more downstairs.
They came in
So
unmarked.
5 arrests in one area, the guy says, according to his accounts, and more in another area. Let's see if this goes on again, and then we'll show this other video that I was just sent about these assholes jumping out of the truck like they're fucking, I don't know, Navy SEALs jumping out of the back of a fucking airplane. Here we go.
And trucks, and then a rental Penske brand moving van.
Wait a minute. Wait the fuck a minute. Is that paintball? That is fucking paintball. That's a fucking paintball gun. That's the place right there you put the fucking paintballs. That's the cartridge right there. That's the fucking CO2 cartridge. What? They got a rented truck and paintball guns? Oh, you know what this must be, ladies and gentlemen? You know what this must be? This must be fucking all the new recruits they got here, because now ICE is trying to now pay for your student loans and trying to give you like some other fucking huge incentives in order to sign up. I guess they just got, who's the asshole? Who's the asshole that plays Superman there? Oh, what the fuck's his name? Dick Kane? Fucking Dick Cock. What's his name? Dean Kane? That asshole just signed up for ICE? Fuck me. Oh, what fucking alternate reality we live in. But that's a fucking paintball gun. I mean, I don't know what else to tell people. That's pepper balls. All right, yeah, that could be a thing. All right, that could be another option there. Who knows? With these assholes, it's all rented.
And moving van, or moving truck rather, like a box truck. And they, pulled in over by that Starbucks over there, and then up into this front part of the lot off of Wilshire Boulevard, and they grabbed whoever they could.
They fucking grabbed whoever they could. It's not like they had some like specific suspect in mind that has a fucking lengthy criminal rap sheet, has murdered people, known for stabbings and beatings and sexual assaults. No, they just fucking, let's go to this parking lot, and whoever we see, we'll fucking round up and we'll deal with their immigration status later, I guess.
And a statement from Penske Trucking Company to NBC.
There you go. People selling shit on the fucking side of the road, trying to make a living, trying to make a fucking buck. Getting arrested.
Today reads in part that they are aware of this morning's operation.
All right, let's check out this video here. Mel just sent me. Share this tab instead. This is a video. This is them trying to act like fucking tough guys, apparently, hopping out of their truck. Just a little short clip here. I'll play it from the beginning. It says, what in the fresh hell is this? ICE agents jump out of the back of a truck with Fox News crew. With the Fox News crew at a Home Depot near MacArthur Park in Los Angeles. All to arrest day workers who are just trying to provide for their families, as I said. With a Fox fucking News crew, bro. What is happening? Now it's like fucking... Now it's just like reality TV for these fucking sick scumbag fucking motherfuckers. All right, here we go. Let's check this one out. Oh, I so wish it fucking slammed back and one of them caught their fucking dome piece. Luckily, they got their fucking electric scooter helmets on. Look at the people in the background, too. Look at people they're around that cart that we were just showing in that last clip. Of the food vendors and just selling whatnot on the street there. Yeah, they are, and they're just fucking lined up, ready to go, running right after them. Don't even know who they're chasing. They have no fucking clue who they're chasing right now. Look at people like, all right, I'm fucking out. Unfucking real. Oh, thank you, Mel. Let me see if I can find that one. Oh, yep. There we go. There's a comparison. There's a stout comparison right there. There's a stout comparison. Fucking no different in my mind. Up front, you got the fucking up top, you got the Patriot Front fucking freedom fuckers. And on below, you got the Trump administration's SS fucking anti-freedom fuckers down the bottom there. Same fucking routine, same tactics, same bullshit, same cosplay fucking pussies. Fuck you. Fuck ICE, cocksuckers. All right, before I get too angry and kicked off this fucking platform, let's see if we can move on. What do you say we move on? Thank you guys so much for your help. JD, thank you so much for the profanity bonuses that always go a long way, because I tend to get a little heated in these things, and then it tends to bump me down in the old algorithmic fucking nature just by the shit that I'm talking about. But what do you say what's next on the old agenda? Let me see here. What did we already do? Let's do the Mehdi. Let's hop into that one because I really wanted to get into that one before we lose too much time. What time we got? So we got, all right, a little less than an hour. All right, so we're good on time so far. Let's see if I can. We got the Hunter Biden. We got the fucking. We're still going on Rachel, but I think I don't want to. I think we kind of get the gist of what she's trying to tell us, and just how you better stop and look around. If you don't feel like you're under a fascist government, if you don't feel like you're under an authoritarian regime, fucking stop for a second. Take a look at how high the prices are and what they're doing in the background, what they promised you as far as prices, but the shit that they're actually doing. Take a look at the control of the media. Take a look at the control they want over the government and the government officials that work inside the government, right? Look at how much fucking Donald Trump has profited from his, I don't know, NFTs or his crypto, how many businesses and golf courses he's opened. Like, this is all self-enrichment from a dictator, from an authoritarian, fascist wannabe in this fucking asshole. But we have so much to get to. Good Lord. We did the town hall. We still have to talk about Trump's tariffs on India. There was the Ukraine front line. So what do you say we hop into Mehdi? Debunking some Gaza lines. It's kind of a short clip. He does what he does best in just spitting as many facts as he possibly can come out with in a 3-minute time frame to again debunk a lot of what we would think are well established, or what some people on the outskirts would consider well established facts or lies either told about the Palestinian people, Gaza, Hamas, or October 7th in particular. So what do you say we get into this? Let's hit the like button for Mehdi. Mehdi does some fucking great work. Big fan of Mehdi. Love his ability to recall statistics and historical events and things that have happened in the past is like, he's like a fucking machine, and definitely something that I strive for if I ever were to get into some of the, I don't know, like political debate spaces, or if we ever have on, hopefully, some opposition, some people that aren't like-minded on the show as far as guests or anything like that. So all right, let's take a look at this clip that Mehdi and Zateo posted. Follow Zateo, follow Mehdi. This is Debunked Israel's top 10 lies on Gaza. Watch me bring receipts to debunk them all. From falsehoods about Hamas stealing aid to brazen lies about hostages, human shields, and more, all in under 3 minutes. And then he asked you to please subscribe to Zateo. We've been talking a lot recently about the ongoing humanitarian disaster at the hands of Israel of the Palestinian people. The fake aid sites that have been set up just to shoot Palestinian children and women. We talk about, and we showed on this show not long ago, and he's been continuing to make the rounds. God bless the guy. God bless the Green Beret there. I think his name is Tony Aguilar. He's been on with, I think, the Majority Report, MSNBC, Tucker Carlson, you name it. He's on these spaces trying to raise awareness as to what's going on over there, and power to him for doing that. But here, let's get into Mehdi's 10 debunked lies here. Make sure you hit the like button. Let's get into it. Thank you so much. And again, just really important to continue to debunk the lies of the Israeli government and to continue to cover the ongoing atrocities and war crimes perpetrated by Benjamin Netanyahu and the Israeli government. Let's go.
The Israeli government has told so many lies since October the 7th, about October the 7th, about Gaza, about aid, that it's hard to remember them all, let alone keep up. Here, in less than 3 minutes, are Israel's top 10 lies about this genocide debunked. Start the clock. Lie number one, the Israelis said again and again, including Netanyahu himself to the Nelk boys, that Hamas was stealing the aid going into Gaza. But turns out, according to Israeli military officials, they never actually found any proof of that. No systematic theft. A study by the US government found no evidence either. Lie number two, they said this war was about the hostages, about getting them home, and it would stop the moment Hamas released all the hostages, and yet the Israeli hostage families say they would...
This is the big one. Like, this was the big one, and still continues to be a big one when you bring this up to anybody either Republican-minded, conservative-minded, or in the MAGA base themselves. And then there's just so much here that I continue to talk about and bring up on the show. The families of the hostages themselves and the protest and the outrage that they showed towards the Israeli government from the lack of care and just the utter destruction they laid upon the area in which the hostages were. We've talked about the instance in which they actually sniped and shot their own hostages upon release. There continues to be evidence to suggest, and Israeli officials that come out and say, even if Hamas were to give up all the hostages, this war would not end. The atrocities would not end. The ethnic cleansing and the genocide would not end. It's been said on multiple occasions by multiple Israeli officials, whether the ambassador to the UK or ambassador to other nations, whether it be IDF representatives or Israeli spokespeople. They've all fucking said it, or people inside the government themselves, out of their own mouths. So let's continue. Sorry.
Told that Hamas offered on October 9th or 10th to release all the civilian hostages in exchange for the IDF not entering the Strip, but the Israeli government rejected the offer. Oh, and Israeli ministers themselves keep saying again and again that the hostages are not their priority. Line number 3. Beheaded babies, 40 beheaded babies. Even President Biden said he'd seen pictures of beheaded babies, but he couldn't have...
And again, this, like he says here, this is one even picked up by President Biden, who, again, insisted that he saw these photographs. And as Mehdi goes on to prove here, it would be pretty much impossible, damn right impossible for him to have seen that because those actions didn't happen. He goes on to explain.
Because there were no pictures, because there were no beheaded babies on October the 7th, nor were their babies put in ovens or hung on clotheslines. They were all lies. Even the Israeli press says so. You know which babies have been beheaded since October the 7th? Palestinian babies in Gaza from Israeli bombs. Line number 4, there was...
Okay, so just think about the stories and the lies that you've heard, that you've maybe been taken as gospel from October 7th, that you've heard from even people on the left, that you watch and like and you know, fucking take their word for. You know what I mean? Some of these things that were taken as fact already, then they were run with, that justifies, right? That justifies what Israel has been continuing to do. Slow it down. I don't think it's sped up. I could be wrong though. No, this isn't sped up. He's just talking really fast. I think he sped it up. So if you want, I could slow it down to, you know, slower than it would be. But I think he sped it up to try to get it in 3 minutes and talked as fast as he could on top of it. So I slowed it down just a little bit so we can, you know, kind of break it down a little bit more. My apologies. Let's go.
Mass rape by Hamas on October the 7th. Now, no one's saying there wasn't any sexual or gender-based violence on October the 7th, but mass rape as the weapon of war, well, the Times of London, a pro-Israel, Murdoch-owned right-wing newspaper, did a deep...
Sorry, now he just sounds kind of drunk, though. Now he just sounds kind of drunk. Let's see if I can... Sorry, let me see if I can tweak it, like, in between the two that I had. Playback speed. No, you can't really. There's only so many options that I have. My apologies. I'll keep it like this, but just know that people that are watching and just tuned in, this is slowed down just a little bit because, again, he speed fucking talks through this, and I think it's sped up just a little bit to get it into the 3-minute time zone. So just so we can break it down at a little bit of a slower pace, I have slowed it down just a little bit. Just a, just a disclaimer here.
Last year, quote, Israel says Hamas has weaponized rape, but investigators say the evidence does not stand up to scrutiny. The UN Commission of Inquiry said last year that it had not been able to independently verify allegations of rape because of obstruction by the Israeli authorities. And the main Israeli prosecutor on the case has said, in the end, we don't have any complainants. Line number 5, there is a Hamas command and control center under Al-Shifa Hospital.
All right, this is one that we've heard a lot. Again, from people on both sides. The command centers, the tunnels, the structures underneath fucking everywhere that Israel apparently has to bomb. Yet we've yet to see this widespread evidence of these fucking ultra like modern command structures built underneath the hospitals that were so desperately in need of bombing, apparently, according to Israel.
They even put out this video showing what looks like a Bond villain lair under Al-Shifa, but it's been nearly 2 years and we've still seen no evidence whatsoever of that vast structure under Al-Shifa. But we have seen evidence there of mass graves filled with Palestinian corpses. Line number 6, the Rantisi hospital was used to hide Israeli hostages. And we know this because here, unveiled by an Israeli military spokesman on camera, is a schedule used by the Hamas kidnappers, the Hamas guards, in the basement of the hospital, except it wasn't.
You know, what's funny, though, again, is just a perfect example of Israeli propaganda, them fucking not even being smart enough to do their own homework. If I remember this one correctly, he'll go on to say, and again, I wanted to watch this with you guys. He'll go on to say that either what it says on there doesn't make sense, or the actual fucking language itself. One of the two. There was a couple of instances here where Israeli propaganda came out and it wasn't even the correct language. And then if you translated what they actually wrote, it made absolutely no sense, or it said the opposite of what they said that it said. So yeah, let's see what he goes on to say. My apologies.
The guard schedule. It didn't have any names on it. It was just a calendar with the days of the week on it in Arabic. Line number 7, UNRWA is a front for Hamas, which was a claim Israel made and led to the U.S. and other countries getting funding for...
This was a big one. Again, supported by a lot of people here in the U.S.
through a cut. Turns out it was all BS. Not only did the Wall Street Journal, which laundered Israel's lie on its front page, later privately admit that the Israeli claims haven't been backed by solid evidence, but a former French foreign minister who independently reviewed the UNRWA allegation says she was given no evidence by Israel to back them up. Line number 8, you can't trust the number of deaths published by the Hamas-controlled health ministry in Gaza. Well, actually, you can. The Lancet Medical Journal says you can, and guess who else says you can?
And again, I've seen great points made on the, on spaces like this where I would argue, and other people would argue, that you really kind of can't go on to believe what the Gaza Health Ministry is saying as far as total death, numbers of total dead. And that's not for the reasons that you would think. It's because they just no longer have the infrastructure to accurately account for everybody that's either beneath the rubble, have died from starvation, or any one of the, IDF's actions. So I would lean towards the number that we have now to being doubled, tripled, even bigger than that when this is all said and done, right? Or whatever number is publicly known at that time would be doubled, tripled when we actually peel back the rubble, when we actually start fucking cleaning things up and taking a look at the actual devastation and destruction laid upon these people, right? And he goes on. There's 2 more, I believe. Here we go.
Israeli intelligence. One Israeli intel source said, I trust the health ministry in Gaza more than the IDF for these statistics. Line number 9, all those massacre denials. We didn't massacre 15 aid workers, except a Sky News investigation found they did. We didn't massacre over 100 people waiting to get flour, except a CNN investigation found they did. You simply can't believe their denials. Line number 10, we don't use human shields. Hamas uses human shields. Well, Hamas hides under civilian areas, yes, but it's Israeli troops who literally strap Palestinians to the front of their vehicles. In fact,
look at that shit. Look at that shit. Literally strapping them to the fucking front of their vehicles?
And soldiers told the AP that Israeli troops are systematically forcing Palestinians to act as human shields in Gaza. So there you have it, Israeli lie after Israeli lie, debunked in less than 3 minutes. You're welcome.
Well, thank you, Mehdi. I appreciate you, brother. I do. And again, just think of how many of those that you have heard and maybe even believed yourself at one point. And how that has been used as justification. And again, that's why I keep saying, like, who said it? What did he say? Fuck, let me remember it correctly. What's how, like, your sympathy gets weaponized against you, and I'll have to paraphrase that. Like, I would argue that that's what's happened to people that either justified at first or either continued to justify the actions of the IDF or the Israeli government after October 7th. Like, these stories of the beheadings and the rapes and the ovens and this and that were used as justification for the egregious actions of Israel's response. You see how that works? So that would just be my argument, and that I would continue to go on and make, regardless of who it's against. You know what I mean? Yeah, no, right. You're right. Absolutely right. But I think it's in reverse. I mean, I think he's right on like the, his thinking of it, but I just think it's kind of backwards in this point. I think a lot of it was used, these fake stories and lies and these outrageous claims were used to justify and go on to continue to justify what we see now and what has led to this, like, most ridiculous and insane humanitarian crisis and famine. The most widespread and most the quickest starvation of a people that we've seen in modern history, as reported by multiple outlets, BBC for one. So it continues. You know what I mean? It continues. So I appreciate that. Let me see if we can get into now this clip here, which I found pretty funny here. We'll hop back into the Epstein stuff. This was, I found this to be pretty good. And I'll see if we can find, because I think there's a couple clips to come from this. Fucking Hunter Biden sat down with Channel 5 News. Fuck, I'm blanking on the kid's name, as I knew I would. But he's the tall kid with the curly hair. He's been around for a while doing if you like that sort of stuff, some good work. But he actually got to sit down with Hunter for, it was like 3 hours or something like that. I think on multiple occasions as well. And kind of got Hunter Biden to open up. And here he asked him, do you think Epstein killed himself? And Hunter Biden gives us his his take on the matter. So let me see if I can bring this back to the beginning, make this full screen for you guys. Again, this is Hunter Biden's take on what happened to Jeffrey Epstein. Did Jeffrey Epstein kill himself? According to Hunter Biden, Please hit that like button. I'm Boston Brian. This is Blunt Politics. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for the contributions. Thank you for supporting what is truly independent media, supported only by you guys and by you guys alone. So thank you guys. Let's go. Let's see if we can hop into this.
Do you think it was like a suicide? Epstein?
No, nobody does. I mean, really, except for all of a sudden Kash Patel and Dan Bongino. Nobody thinks it was. Is that you have that renowned doctor, a coroner, that did the what's it called?
Postmortem autopsy.
Yeah, the postmortem autopsy.
I don't know if that's what it's called.
He talks about all the different, all the different fractures in his neck and how it was impossible that he could have done that.
You can't
by simply leaning
by
forward.
strangling yourself.
What?
You can't commit suicide.
Exactly.
You
And he
can't
says
strangle yourself to death, even
No.
if you hate life.
Yes, exactly. That literally is an impossibility in a fiction. And there's this idea that what he did is like he leaned forward. Well, none of it matches up. There's that guy that just testified not testified. He was interviewed that was in the cell next to Jeffrey Epstein's. And he said it's just absolutely impossible that he would have been able to do that. Now you have the tape that comes out, and it's not just 1 minute missing from the tape. It's actually 3 minutes from the tape has been overwritten.
Well, you know that's standard protocol at the most secure facility in the country.
Well, that yes, yeah. I mean,
Of course, going on to mock the fact that you don't have actual video evidence from multiple angles as you should in a secure facility, as the one that people with the classification that Jeffrey Epstein had should be under in.
And just that alone, you have someone that everyone absolutely knows that if anything happens to him you're going to be accused of a gigantic cover-up, and he dies, and the guy that is his co-conspirator in France, what's his name, he just happens to commit suicide or die in mysterious ways in prison, and the woman who living in Australia, she commits suicide just before that. I mean,
again, I think right now the stars are aligning for this case. I really do. I mean, when it's being talked about on such a widespread level by so many people, and it's being brought back up, and we're digging up these old fucking recordings and instances where Donald Trump incriminates himself as far as engagements or dealings or dating or finding attractive young girls, underage girls. Like the stars are aligning, I believe, for this. Democrats doing what they can to dig up what they can dig up in Congress. Like I've said it before. I don't. So Brian, are you saying October 7th, 2023 never happened? No, of course not. Of course not. That's not even a remote possibility to say. Nor would I ever say that there weren't heinous crimes and atrocious activity perpetrated among the Israeli citizenry that day. Nor have I ever said anything to the contrary or otherwise. I've done nothing but call out and condemn all of the actions. What I'm saying is that there were stories written that came out immediately that were run with like the game of telephone. And by the time it got to the ears of the United States citizens and the media, that these stories were either completely fabricated or highly embellished. And then those stories were used to motivate and fuel the anger and the resentment towards the Palestinian people, to bring favor and to bring the people behind the forces of Israel, to make it seem like no matter what they did, it was justified because of these, again, the beheadings that we were led to make, that we thought to be true. The burnt, any one of the things that Mehdi just, debunked there with evidence and credible sources from the fucking media and investigative journalists right there. So no, but two things can be true at the same time, right? October 7th was an atrocity, a tragedy. But we can also see and call out the propaganda that came from that, and what it has directly led to as far as the starvation of the Palestinian people. That's where we are right now. The ongoing and continued starvation of an entire population of people, justified by what Israel continues to claim are these actions. That's all. Hope that clears that one up. All right, let's see if we can continue on this one. There's a couple more seconds on this one.
Look, again, I'm feeding into the conspiracy, but clearly,
Uh-oh.
I mean,
Don't wipe your
how
nose
should
too
he
much. They
kill
might get the wrong
himself?
idea.
Nobody.
All right, that's funny. And then there are a couple more clips coming out of that interview there that I believe that you should probably take a look at. Because that one, again, long sit down. And I'm not going to play this for you, so don't run on me. I'm not going to play this, but I was just going around Rumble as I do, trying to figure out what these right-wing MAGA folks are upset about and talking about. And here, all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, but already, again, as I was saying last show, these videos are going to continue to come out of these MAGA folks, or at least ex-MAGA folks. I don't know what you'd call this Nazi, Nick Fuentes, anymore. Ex-MAGA folk, I guess. But here we go right here, folks, with Trump withholds disaster relief to critics of Israel, already calling out, Trump's policy there that we talked about, where any state that refuses to buy anything from an Israeli company that is engaged in funding an ongoing genocide will be punished by not receiving disaster relief funds for the Americans that live in that state. How fucking crazy is that? But we're already seeing the videos come out. We're already seeing the outrage and the anger here by people that were once stout defenders and supporters of Donald Trump. Right? Israel first at FEMA. Here, he's got another one up in the corner. I don't know if you can see that one up here in the corner. Israel first, it says. Oh, of course, he's still just a Nazi prick. I mean, like I said, I'm not giving him any flowers or anything like that. What I'm doing is pointing out the cracks that continue to form along the lines or along the fucking, the fronts in MAGA, and with people that were up Donald Trump's ass at one point. And I know this isn't the first time. We've seen Fuentes in recent weeks call out Donald Trump more and more, but still. Yeah, John, we'll be talking about that next. Why don't we talk about that? Now? We'll bring that up here, because I think that'll lead nicely into our video that I want to play at the end here. So let me see. Trump, the tariff India. Excuse me. Hit that like button, guys. I appreciate you guys for all your love and support. Let's see here. Let's try to find the most recent one. This is New York Times says Trump's tariffs, and put that on the screen for you. Trump's tariff gamble puts America's ties with India at risk. There was also a story that I wanted to talk about. I don't know if I actually ended up sending it to myself, where again, people in the intelligence agencies, people in that have worked in abroad in gathering intel, are once again calling out Tulsi Gabbard for her reckless release of these what are classified files, in order to move forward her agenda at distracting the American people from Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein with this whole Obama bullshit, Russia horse shit. So let me see here. I'll go back, see if I can pull up maybe. I'm back. Sorry. My apologies. Hit the wrong button. That was my bad. That was my bad. I hit the wrong button. All right. So this is Trump raises tariffs on, oh, fucking Christ. Access denied and CNBC. Why? All right. Does this work? All right. This one works. Let me see here. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, things are going crazy again. Can I share this? Oh, no, I'm not sharing the screen. All right. Back at it like a crack addict. Hold on. Sorry, didn't mean to bring that up after Hunter Biden. But here, let's bring up the tariffs. Trump raising the tariffs on India here, and we'll get into this little short clip to talk about what's going on with that. Appreciate you joining me. Sorry about that. I don't know. I popped myself out of here. Let me see if I can pause this, put it at the beginning, make this full screen for you guys, and hopefully this gives us a little better insight into what these tariffs. Oh, this is going to say the Georgia base thing. Oh, no, it does go into the tariffs. My apologies. Here we go.
As President Trump's sweeping tariff hikes on nearly every trading partner set to officially kick in, the president says he's raising tariffs on a country that is also a key ally.
The president says he's doubling taxes on imports from India to 50% because India, he says, is buying oil from Russia. India is calling the escalation, quote, unfair, unjustified, and unreasonable. Those new tariffs are set to take effect on India in 3 weeks. But at midnight Eastern time tonight, tariffs of at least 10% are set to become reality on imports coming in from nearly 70 different countries. That marks the highest tariff rates the U.S. has seen in almost 100 years. Let's bring in NBC News business and data correspondent Brian Chung. Also with us, NBC News White House correspondent Monica Alba. Great to see you all. Monica, what are we learning about this tariff rate specifically for India? And why is the president going after Russian oil right now?
Yeah, this, of course, has some geopolitical implications here, Kate, in addition to the economic ones. And what's notable is that as the president is trying to secure a potential ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine, he's essentially threatening Russia with secondary tariffs, right, with these kinds of sanctions.
So it's, again, what she's trying to explain is the secondary tariffs are not tariffs directly on Russia, but to other countries that have dealings with Russia so that it affects Russia as well. Right, so secondary tariffs, that type of thing. Oh, thank you. Let's go. 15 months. Let's fucking go. Thank you, Brian and Lobsters. We can't give up, nor shall we ever do so. Thank you, and so much for being here. I appreciate that. Let's fucking go.
They go after countries that do business with Russia. So that's why specifically he is slapping this higher rate on India right now, because they are purchasing Russian oil that the U.S. argues fuels the Russian war machine. So that is why that is something that they had said would potentially take place on Friday once that deadline that had been truncated down from 50 days to 10 days for President Putin had ended. But instead, he's announcing that he's going to go forward with that now. Again, that could be a pressure tactic to try to see if there can be some resolution to that other conflict. But it also fits into this broader picture of the president deciding these tariff rates and continuing on with these decisions on trade as he has been with other countries as well, guys.
Hey, Brian.
So obviously, you know, I applaud any aspect of that it negatively impacts Russia in any way whatsoever, especially as it pertains to its war against Ukraine. But obviously just a mad way to govern. Again, just at whim, busting 25 to 50% tariffs on every country, 100% tariffs here, 30%, nope, 90-day pause, nope, no 90-day pause. It's going to be a 50-day pause, nope, no 50-day pause. It's going to be a 10-day pause. It's like, it's just a fucking wacky and wild way to govern. But again, anything that goes into, and even the Kyiv Independent here, I can throw this in there, the Kyiv Independent, I think this was Trump signs order imposing an additional 25% tariff on Indian imports over Russian oil ties to pressure Moscow into peace deal. So, you know, U.S. President Donald Trump signed an executive order, again, going on to say that the previous 25 tariffs on the 31st of July, effective August 1st, was also imposed in response to India's continued purchasing of Russian energy and arms during the ongoing war in Ukraine. Again, if they see it as a good thing, I see it as a good thing. We are all about the support of the Ukrainian military, the Ukrainian people, and the defeat of the Russian military, right? Absolutely. Absolutely. I appreciate it. Let's see here. So which leads us well into this one too. This leads well into this last little video if I have enough time to show here. And let me see. Is it a video? Is it maybe it's just an article? Maybe it's just an article. And so that'll leave us some time to get into something else. But I did want to show this tab instead. How's this doing? So this is on Ukraine's front line. Twisted record shows sanctions haven't yet stopped Russia, which is, again, why any secondary sanctions, any other sanctions. And again, I've pretty much lost hope in sanctions. We've been hearing for a long time about the collapse of the Russian economy. And again, it's not doing well. It's obviously on the downturn. But again, they seem to be a little bit more resilient, a little bit more isolated from the world economy. than, I guess than we once thought, which is, goes along with them thinking that they were the second best military on paper before this started. But clearly that wasn't true either. So let's just get into just a little bit of this. Since Russia launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine, Western nations have imposed far-reaching sanctions on the aggressor in a bid to stymie its war efforts. But the ground here in Ukraine, these sanctions seem to have limited impact. Just outside Kharkiv, at a secret location lies a collection of twisted metal remnants from attacks in and around the city. It's a scrapyard of savagery that remains of many of Russian bombs, rockets, missiles, and drones used to hit in and around Kharkiv over the past 3.5 years. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe this is the same pile of discarded ammunition and weaponry that our friend of the show, Denver Riggleman. Let's see. Let me see if I can just do a quick search here. Good friend of the show, Denver Riggleman, was standing before during his interview, or it might have been him or Ken Harbaugh. I forget which one. Let's see here. Hasan. See if that brings up anything as far as images. Let's see here. Just give me a second. Well, that's him there. That's him in the square. That's also him in the square. It must have been Ken Harbaugh that I was thinking about, unless I'm just not having enough time to find that photo. But yeah, I think we've seen that before. We actually have friends of the show that went as far into Ukraine to take a look at that. But Donald Trump appears to have lost patience with Vladimir Putin after early efforts to rapprochement between the U.S. and Russia. The U.S. president has now threatened to boost sanctions on the Kremlin unless Russia agrees to a ceasefire in Ukraine by this Friday. Trump has said secondary sanctions will also come into force that day, affecting any country trading with Russia. He has already imposed an additional 25% tariff on India for buying Russian oil. U.S. envoy Steve Witkoff met with Putin in Moscow on Wednesday for talks ahead of the looming deadline. So, I mean, there are a few videos coming out of Steve Witkoff's meeting there with Putin. One of them where he's kind of holding his chest in in endearment when he meets him there. This goes on to say Kharkiv, just 30 kilometers from the Russian border, has borne the brunt of many strikes throughout the war. Thousands of buildings have been damaged or destroyed throughout the region. Almost 3,000 civilians have been killed, 97 of them children. Police Colonel Sergei Bolvinov shows me the burnt-out shell of the police headquarters he used to work in. A Russian strike in 2022 killed 3 of his officers as well as 6 civilians. He pointed to the gaping hole in the wall where the Russian missiles entered. Russian tactics, he says, haven't changed. Russia tries to hit and kill as many civilians as they possibly can. This goes on to, again, depict in detail the cemetery outside of Kharkiv and, just the feelings inside of Ukraine as it pertains to what the sanctions are actually doing. And again, I have absolutely nothing to combat this. Like, I can see absolutely their frustrations in the lack of effect that these sanctions that both the Biden administration and now Trump administration, at least with the secondary sanctions, are trying to impose here, because it's been frustrating. We wanted to see, the immediate fucking fall of the Russian economy after these, but we've been trying to go after individuals. I know the Biden administration actually sanctioned, literal individuals in the Russian hierarchy and the Russian government. So it's not like things haven't been done. It's just they haven't had the effect that we kind of hoped that they would have, at least in the time frame that we were hoping that would have, right? All right, let's see if we can get into what was that last thing that I had. I think it was, let me see. I have too many things open. Let me cut that. Let me get rid of these, get rid of those, get rid of those, get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that. And then I think the last thing was just Trump getting fucking brutally fact-checked with his MSNBC. And this is just a short clip here that I'll play. Obviously not the whole interview. I will not subject you to that. We got about 15 minutes left, and then I'll get into thanking everybody for their fine contributions to the channel. Let me see if I can put this on the screen for you guys to see. I don't know if you've seen this clip yet, but this is pretty funny. It says President Trump, BLS data is antiquated and very political. So he's questioned here on CNBC about the firing of the statistician and whether or not they can trust the numbers coming out of the Treasury and other federal administrations They also go into talking about the revisions that happened while Joe Biden, I believe, was in office. And then Donald Trump goes on to give his historical a review of what he thinks happened. And then the host here goes on to brutally fact check Donald Trump as to what actually happened during that time. So let's see if we can get into this. Make sure you guys hit the like button. I appreciate it. And like I said, after this, I'll let you guys go and thank everybody on Venmo, PayPal, everybody that sent a super sticker, gave a membership, signed up themselves. I really appreciate it. It keeps us running here at Blunt Politics. Let's get into this. Just a short clip here.
That we've been talking about all morning. President Donald Trump. Mr. President, welcome. Thanks for calling in. Wish you could be here in person, but we'll do this.
Good morning, Joe.
We've been talking about the BLS and the employment numbers all morning long. Sometimes I know you get a chance to tune in. I want to bring up a chart. I hope you can see it, or else I'll describe it to you. This is the response rate over the last 10, 12 years for the BLS, the household survey. It's dropped from 90% or so on time, down to 60 and sometimes even lower.
Oh,
it's arguably the most
Jim, hold
important
on.
number.
Speaking of which, Jim, I got what I can only explain or can bring to you as another explanation. And I'm not saying this is what happened. I'm sticking to my guns at what I fucking called out on the show yesterday as far as Donald Trump giving the fake fucking Sig Heils, thinking he's on the big concrete platform like Adolf Hitler at a fucking Nuremberg rally. But somebody on Blue Sky did actually say that it's possible that in his baby brain, because he was talking about, installing nuclear missiles on top of the White House, apparently, that he was doing like a imitating the rocket launch, right? That's the only fucking other explanation that I will even entertain to explain his actions and hand motions on the roof yesterday. But I'm sticking with my guns. I'm sticking what I said on the show as to what I think he was actually doing. And he just got carried away in the moment, being on a big concrete platform, standing over people that he thinks he rules over, doing the fucking Heil Hitler. You know what I mean? Fucking crazy. All right, let's get back into this. My fault. Thank you, Jim.
Number we get about the economy. Yesterday, we had Wharton Professor Jeremy Siegel on. Just bear with me, Mr. President, and listen to this. I know you're familiar with Wharton, but unsolicited, this is what Jeremy Siegel said yesterday about the numbers.
I'm not going to let the BLS off the hook. I mean, you talk about how to fix it. Make these questionnaires mandatory and give them a time limit to fill it out. I think the response rate's down to 60%. I mean, that's unacceptable for the
I love that they play this for Trump too.
Most important statistic that we have. It's almost like we're sending them out, fill it out.
Now he says it's the most important statistic that we have, right?
When you can. We know you like to go to the beach in the summer, so it might be a little bit late. This is just
like, this guy is fucking exasperated. Like, he's fucking aghast right now. Like, doesn't even know what to think. Like, this is about as fucking animated as you'll see what this guy, if he's an economist or whatever he is on CNBC. Like, this is about as fucking flabbergasted as you'll see one of these guys here. Ready?
Not acceptable today. We need that response rate has to go up. And when you make the biggest mistake in 50 years, why? Why wasn't there an explanation?
It's 258,000 less in 2 months. That was the biggest revision since 1968.
All right, so he's kind of buttering Trump up at this point is what he's doing. So then he can kind of ask him, like, what evidence, I believe he asked, what evidence do you have to suggest that, like, the numbers that came out were false or untrue or anything like that? So I think he's kind of buttering up to try to then go after him. So let's see what he says here.
Mr. President, so we're in the internet age. We still can't get any instant data. We're still using snail mail to get the responses back. It is the government, after all. Antiquated, no doubt, and certainly suboptimal, but rigged. Where do you get the notion that it's rigged, or do you have it?
All right, so there he is. So rigged, so he's trying to kind of give Donald Trump a leg to stand on here by being like, all right, there are certain issues that we can call out, but where the fuck do you get the mind to call this like totally rigged and then to go on firing the person that just happened to come out with these numbers, right? So listen to Trump here.
Any evidence there?
It is antiquated, but it's also very political. And, I had an election recently where I did very well, won every swing state, won the popular vote, won everything. All right, won all the counties. It's I think 87% of the counties were Republican up. That's never happened before, and yet I had to go through hell. And just days before the election, they put out numbers that it was like the country was on fire. It was doing so well. And then they did a revision about 2 weeks later, and the revision was down by almost 900.
Literally the opposite. So he's I don't know, in his fucking addled mind here, his fucking peanut-sized brain, like he maybe just can't fit so many memories and historical facts in there that he just can't pull this one out. But he literally is bringing this out and is remembering it the complete opposite of the way it went. The complete opposite.
100,000 jobs. You remember that? And I said, man.
And the guy's like, no, actually, I don't, because that didn't happen when you just said it happened, nor was it a revision of what you just said it was a revision of.
I said, what would have happened? What would have happened if I lost? Think of it. I would have said, they gave phone.
See, the other guy trying to cut in. The guy's like, come on, wait.
Numbers, and then they revised them a week and a half later.
Those were benchmark numbers, though, Mr. President. That happens. They do that. They do that twice a year, and it reconciles the monthly figures with like the overall numbers. And
here he is trying to explain to Donald Trump how this works, and that's like trying to get a fucking square block in a circle hole.
It's a big number. And obviously,
but the numbers were rigged. The numbers were rigged. Biden wasn't doing well. He was doing poorly. They announced these phenomenal numbers 2 days before the election, and a little bit before that, always these great numbers. And you knew it wasn't doing well. You knew prices were through the roof and inflation was terrible. The whole thing was bad. But think of it. Then they
what are grocery prices at right now? What are you guys paying at the pump? Well, Donald Trump continues to claim that gas is at $2 and lower. Are you guys paying lower than $2 for gas right now? Anywhere?
They did the biggest revision, I think, in history of almost 900,000 jobs. And it turned out to be more than that because later on they did another revision. And so they gave phony numbers in order to win the election. After I won the election, I said too big to rig. But after I won the election, then they announced a downward number, in other words, to bring them back to reality. And I said, wow, supposing I would have lost, I would have blamed that. And people would have said I was a conspiracy theorist. You know, it's crazy.
Oh, no. Was that the end of it? No. I must have fucking, that's my fault.
Why is Amazon paying me $63,000
Shut the fuck up. I don't want to. Shut up.
$1,000 a month? Well,
what is playing? Oh, it's this again. My apologies. That was my fault. I thought that was the one where he came back at him like, sir, that doesn't happen when you think it happened. Those were actually in October, and the numbers were revised the opposite way you think they were revised. My apologies. Not that it was that important in the whole thing, but what is important is definitely the New York Times article talking about Jeffrey Epstein's 7-story fucking mansion there with pictures of Donald Trump all over it, and fucking a bride hanging from a rope trying to escape something. Not only that, but the ongoing connections between Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, and the possible pardon coming Ghislaine Maxwell's way. A lot of things that we're going to be talking about. Let's continue the pressure. Let's continue to highlight the pressure that even Republicans are putting on Republican fucking politicians at this point, whether it be for, you know, the cuts in FEMA, alligator Alcatraz, what's going on with ICE, illegal deportations. I mean, you name it, any one of the issues that we could bring up that definitely has an effect on everyday citizens such as you and me in this country. Would be great in order to use. So what do you say we get into start thanking some people in the fucking chat for being absolutely fantastic and supporting independent media and progressive creators like myself that are just trying to get this news out there, that are just trying to break it down again, sift through the bullshit, propaganda, lies of the mainstream media, the Republican Party, Donald Trump, and just break it down for you guys and learn it with you. And, you know, that's all I try to do. I appreciate you guys. Obviously, we are supporters of Ukraine. We say Slava Ukraini. We say free Palestine. And we say release the fucking Epstein files. That's what we say. Oh, and fuck ICE to add on to that. All right, let's say, Josh, let's go, brother. Josh is first, coming in with a $10 super chat. Beat Nordez. Nordez isn't going to be happy about that. No, Dez is not going to be happy about that coming in second today, but thank you so much for the 5 gifted. I appreciate that, brother. I really do. I really do. Carries a free. Let's go. Appreciate that because you're adorable. Who? I don't know. Was somebody else in here? Oh, I appreciate that, Carrie. I'm just kidding. I appreciate that. Thank you, Jeff. The shit is flying so fast we don't have a chance to smell it. You guys are fucking unbelievable. I appreciate it. It's a good way to put it. Good way to put it, and it's right. I mean, it's amazing that, you could do a 2-hour show every day and still not have enough time to cover everything. I'm sure I ended up missing something today, too. I always end up missing something. I think I did cover everything, though. We did the Maddow. We did the tariffs. We did the town hall, the Republican town hall. We did the Fort Stewart shooting. We did the Trump CNBC, even though I got the wrong one. That was my fault. We did the Mehdi Hasan, debunks the Gaza lies. We did the MSNBC, Trump with the new Epstein receipts. We talked about Ukraine on the front line and how the sanctions up until this point haven't been working. We talked about a lot. We did the Hunter Biden on Epstein. We got through a lot today. I appreciate it. It was a good show. It was a good show. I thank you guys. So JJ, again, appreciate you, my man. P.S. Let's go. Happy Wednesday, Brian and Mods and Brian Tall. Just right back at you, Patrick. Right back at you, Patrick. Appreciate you being here. JJ again. My uncle's name is JJ. Trump applied age 12. What's his lowest limit? Oh, fucking disgusting. What an absolute fucking vile pig. Ugh. Makes me fucking sick just to think about it. All right, JD, thank you so much for the Crustacean Nation. Let's fucking go. 16 months, brother. 16 months. What a highlight. Appreciate you. Benny Loco, cooking dinner and listening. Let's go. Congratulations and thank you for being here for 12 months. I appreciate that. Midas Cam, thank you for being here for 2 months. Let's fucking go. Trying to bring you the truth. I'm trying. I really am. Let's go, JD, for the profanity bonus and the Ray Bork at the same time. Let's fucking go. Tony, let's fucking go with the scum. I'm sure we were talking about Donald Trump at some point or Jeffrey Epstein at some point or all of the above. Let's see. Dean Cain, super douche. Thank you, JD. Appreciate that, brother. Appreciate that. Let's go, Peter. Peter, I recognize not only the name, but I recognize that symbol anyway. I appreciate that $20 super sticker, my friend. Fucking awesome of you to be here. I appreciate that. Thank you for coming. Hoping you're having a wonderful Wednesday night. Excuse me. Maz the Martian TV says the only super thing about Dean Cain is that he's a super asshole. He's not my Superman. I appreciate that. Appreciate that contribution and the super chat. I concur. Independent says, thank you, Brian and Lobsters. We can't give up in the 15-month milestone. Let's fucking go. A lot of milestones around. I appreciate that. Noah Des coming in with another 5 gifted memberships. Thank you so much. Jim the Geek coming in. Gas is down to 79 cents a gallon, and you get a free towel with a fill-up. Yeah, in 1943, maybe. All right, let's just make sure I didn't miss anybody on Venmo, and then I can get you guys out of here. Maybe a couple minutes early tonight. That really happens. Let's see here. So, transactions. Nancy Hayes, thank you so much. And again, a huge shout out to Pierre. I don't know if you guys remember, Pierre was the gentleman kind enough to throw in the enormous $500 super chat that time. When I believe I was on with either Denver or Harry Dunn. I forget at this point. The super chat itself kind of takes over my memory on that. But he was, again, kind enough to, send some contributions to the channel to make sure that we can continue to grow, continue to keep running. So I just wanted to give a big shout out to Pierre for not only that, but everything he continues to do for not only this channel, progressive channels, democracy, but also the Ukrainian people and people abroad everywhere that he touches and helps, and the people that his businesses help as well. So big shout out to him and his contribution. So thank you, Pierre. I know you don't look for the recognition, but I just want to make sure that you get it. But yeah, thank you guys so much. Let me see who else I got in here. Nordez, I got Carrie again. I got Jeff. Who was after Jeff? JD, Benny Loco, Midas Cam, JD, Tony, Peter, Martian Mars, Independent, Jim the Geek. Yeah, I think I got everybody. So I'll end up getting you guys out of here a couple minutes early. How about that? So you guys can go check out the latest shows that are on, the latest streams that are on. Support your other favorite creators. Make sure you donate it and support into independent creators like myself. I really appreciate all your support, your kindness, and your loyalty. Today is Wednesday, so I'll see you guys tomorrow for the Thursday show, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific here. Make sure you're hitting that notification bell. That way you get notified every time I go live. But yeah, we've added more shows. Let's take a look here because it's been, I should put this up on the screen as well because we do have our August Zooms coming up this month for everybody that signed up at patreon.com/Boston Brian. I would at least advise you to go check it out. There could be a level that fits your financial viability there. But August 14th, we're going to have the monthly Zoom. And then August 28th, if you signed up at the VIP level, you'll get to join that one as well. So thanks to everybody that's joined up. Thanks to everybody that signed up as a member. Thanks to everybody that's super chatted, donated, gifted, Venmo'd, PayPal, everything. You guys have been fantastic and continue to be. And don't forget the show schedule here. Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And just a little maybe a little hint here, maybe a little drop. Maybe a little tease here, maybe another Wednesday show being added or another show during the week at some point being added, but more to discuss about that, and I'll bring you up to speed. So thank you guys. Enjoy your night. I will see you tomorrow again, Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific for another episode of Blunt Politics. I'm Boston Brian. Get out of your seats. Get out of your sheets. Get into the streets. Find your nearest protest. Find your nearest rally. Speak up, whether on social media or in public, right? Stay loud. Stay proud. Stay aggressive. But keep your head on a swivel, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you're staying safe out there. All right? I appreciate it. Until next time, which is tomorrow, keep kicking ass. I'm Boston Brian. This is Blunt Politics. I'll catch you guys later, all right? I appreciate it. Sleep well.
Up here bashing the living shit out of Nazis.
They're just getting acclimated. You know what that means, acclimated? I am the chosen one.
Call them dumps, big massive dumps. Obama.
Hence the name. Movement, it moves a certain distance, then it stops, you see? A revolution gets its name by always coming back around in your face. You tried to kill me, you son of a bitch. So welcome to the revolution.
fight uphill, me boys. Gettysburg, what an unbelievable battle that was. Yesterday's a hard word for me. You'll have a group of Venezuelan killers, street gangs, occupying the town with MK-47s. I know that gun very well. I got to know it. I've become a...
I ain't falling for no banana in my damn house.
Oh, get those lights off! Off! Turn them off. They're too bright. Turn them off! The big, fat, sloppy United